Yo, what's up? Okay, so apparently they recooked the affixes. So we knew that from the most recent Morgan Day and Ian Hezekiah's interview that they were going to be doing something that's going to change or shake up how the affix system as a whole worked. I haven't had a chance to read this new blue post or blog post that they said that they're going to be doing to discuss what the affixes are, but instead I wanted to take some time to read it first and foremost with my viewers. So basically this post says, brand new Zalot affixes in War Within, bolstering and sanguine removed. This week's beta update will include major changes to the Mythic Keystone affix system in the War Within. Based on player feedback, our primary goal with these updates is to refine the Mythic Plus experience to better serve a diverse player base. This is kind of what they said in the interview a few days ago. I'm not super shocked. Previously, we approached Mythic Plus Keystones with a one-size-fits-all approach, which proved challenging in striking the right design and limited our design space. Yeah, so now they're going to be going for like a more diverse expectations. We're maintaining the core goals of our last round of changes, but without the limitations of a one-size-fits-all approach. This flexibility will allow us to craft a more tailored experience for each of the different playstyles. Cool. And so the different playstyles I would say are like people who do keys purely for fun. Probably aren't going to jump into the M plus ecosystem all too often, if ever. So they're going to be largely restricted or going to be doing M0s. I think that they've been... I think that they're doing a better job with trying to tailor and cater towards them. Another one I would say is like the casual key doer, just there to get weeklies done, not really there to do anything else. Additionally, I would say that there is like the medium end pusher who does more keys than just weeklies, but isn't like taking it super serious or pushing for title. And then there's, players who are seriously pushing, right? And they don't necessarily have to be title, but they are seriously pushing, I would say. And so those are like, I would say 4 distinct groups of people, and what they need or what they want is like almost completely different. In this new build, you'll see significant shifts in our design philosophy. We recognize the importance of weekly variety for those progressing through the system. However, for players pushing the highest keys, this variance is sometimes felt restrictive. Yeah, and they talked about that in the interview. Okay. We're reducing the total number of mechanical affixes on keystones for players progressing through the system from 2 to 1. Oh, so they're retiring Sanguine, Bolstering, Raging, and Bursting. This is good. I think that Sanguine, Bolstering, and Raging were really, really punishing for high-end players. Not an affix set that people were all too thrilled about. We've heard the feedback that applying bonuses unevenly to players feels exclusionary, regardless of overall impact. Affixes that were part of the last Mythic Plus Keystone test will no longer apply to Keystones. I actually didn't mind these. I actually thought, like I said in my most recent video talking about all of the dungeons and affixes, I actually didn't think that they were really too far off with Reckless, Focus, Attuned, and Thorned. I think that the Kiss Curse affixes actually were kind of close. I think the initial feedback was maybe a bit harsher than it necessarily needed to be. But I'm interested in seeing what they cook now. Our 1 bucket of active affixes for players progressing through the system offers variety along with positive effects for executing these affixes that apply more evenly. Okay, so wait, our 1 bucket of active we're reintroducing thematic elements to affixes by invoking Zalot and Mythic Plus Keystones with their own set of affixes. A lot of people actually wanted seasonals back. So I actually think that the one thing that I was missing about seasonals in general is the fact that they didn't have any elements of like what was going on necessarily with like the storyline or with the raid. We're utilizing passive affixes to signpost expected increases in player mastery and commensurate rewards as players progress through the Mythic Plus Keystone system. Yes. Hog. Aiming to eliminate push weeks by providing a consistent challenge that focuses solely on the dungeon for players seeking to advance deeper in the Mythic Plus Keystone system for scores and titles. Starting at the +2, Zalot herself will manifest herself in dungeons, introducing a rotation of affixes under the banner of Zalot's Bargain. These affixes will not only seek to empower the dungeon's denizens, but also grant players the opportunity to harness their effects. This reads like Shrouded. But funnily enough, this sounds a lot like Shrouded. Our first test this week will have 2 Zalot's Bargains affixes available. One affix is an event that players must deal with periodically, while the other affix is a passive effect on the creatures throughout the dungeon. Okay. An event. Oh my god. While in combat, Zalot rains down orbs of cosmic energy that attempt to empower its nearby enemies, increasing their haste and movement speed. If players disrupt the orbs, they claim the effect was... Wait, this is Pog. What the fuck? So basically basically sometimes mobs orbs will come out of the sky. It sounds like if you soak the orbs, you get haste, but if it lands on the mobs, they gain haste. That's cool, actually. I'm interested in seeing how that plays. Haste is a sick thing, by the way. Anything that gives you haste is always the greatest. Frenzy. Non-boss enemies become frenzied at 30% health remaining, increasing their haste by 40%, but increasing their damage taken by 20%. Holy shit. Some of these bosses, like, crank your tank. In general, I think this is a better take on Tyrant and Fortified. So I don't know if this is going to completely remove Tyrannical and Fortified, but in general, something like this, I feel like is a lot more in line with what Tyrant and Fortified should be. My initial reaction, I think I'm pretty positive on this. I'm a bit concerned maybe with this, with tank damage just in general. And maybe the implications that increasing mob haste by 40%, like what does that actually look like? How does that work for, I don't know, the first boss of Arakara that does like this pulsing AoE? Like, are they going to cast that pulsing AoE a lot faster? That kind of thing. I think it's a wait and see kind of type beat. Starting at the Keystone level 7, a new affixes Challenger's Peril that directly affects the dungeon timer. This affix emphasizes precise play and strategic execution, playing a greater risk on players' decisions. Okay, so basically these are seasonal affixes that rotate, that are on +2 level, and they rotate weekly. That's kind of what I'm getting at this. Challenger's Peril. Dying subtracts 15 seconds from the running time rather than 5. Holy shit. Okay. Okay, this is probably fine. Okay, so as you do higher keys, dying becomes more of a restricting factor. I actually think that this is probably fine. You shouldn't be dying in Mythic Plus anyways, like, you know. I think that there's weird situations sometimes where some keys will allow you to time them with 15 or 20 deaths at a high-end level. Obviously, I'm not saying that 7's a high-end level, but at high-end level, some keys will let you time it with 20 deaths. Now that's basically dead, because 15 seconds is a fucking ton. Starting at 12, a new affix will replace the Zalot's Bargains affixes. Oh, okay, so we actually lose these. We actually aren't going to be gaining these whenever you're pushing keys. At this level, Zalot revokes her bargains, empowering the dungeon creatures with a 20% increase in health and damage. Holy shit! Zalot betrays her prayers, revoking her bargain and increasing the health and damage of enemies by 20%. Okay, so that's Fortified and Tyrannical. Wow. And then affixes are basically gone beyond that? Fortified and Tyrannical now serve as milestone affixes that alternate between Keystone levels 4 and 10 on a weekly... Hold on, how does that work? We feel this provides us with clearer points in the system where we increase the difficulty and rewards occur. This also affords a more distinction between key levels as players progress through the system. Okay. They're going to explain this. I was trying to figure out what the hell they meant by this. A milestone affix that alternates. Okay, so Keystone's 3rd level will have the following affixes. Zalot's Bargain. Fortified or Tyrannical is active, alternating on a weekly rotation out of 4. Okay, this is fine. Challenger's Peril, okay. And then 10, Fortified or Tyrannical is active, alternating on a weekly rotation. Oh, so you're going to have both if you're doing over a 10. And then if you do a 12, you'll no longer have Bargain, but instead you'll have Guile. Okay. Oh, wait, is this permanently Tyrannical? Oh, it's permanently Tyrannical and Fortified. Okay. We're evaluating how dungeon scores grant on this model. Yeah, that's actually a good point. I really consider that. So basically, how score was done in the past is that you'd have to have score on Tyrannical or Fortified. Now you're going to have score on both. But score... Maybe you get score for both once you're doing above a +12, but whenever you're doing anything that's... or above a +10, but whenever you're doing anything that's below a +10, you're only getting score for Tyrannical or Fortified, and that's for... average players that are interacting with the system that are trying to get Keystone Hero or whatever, right? And they're not are necessarily pushing for titles or anything. We believe that these changes, along with our heroic and mythic dungeon changes, provide players with a way to engage with dungeons in a setting that they prefer. This is a fresh look at M+, and I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback. I'm pretty positive on this. I actually think that bargain is actually a banger. It's kind of unfortunate that I'm not going to be able to play with the bargain, because I think the bargains with the Ascendant and the Frenzy look really cool. But at the same point, I do think that Guile replacing the bargain and then just really normalizing the dungeons week in and week out, where we always have Fortify, we always have Tyrannical, we always have the Guile, and just we're going to be able to play the dungeons every single week. I think that that's actually going to be super sick. I'm really excited in seeing how that looks. I'm very positive on this. Just as a high-end Mythic Plus player, I think that this looks super cool. Even as like somebody who's going to be doing weekly keys sometimes, I think that Ascendant and Frenzied, just as general concepts, depending on how they play out, they also look very sick. I'm kind of excited to see what they've been doing with this. I actually feel like this is a great cook from Blizzard. I don't really have too many complaints. I think that they were actually getting kind of close with this Reckless Focus Attuned, but I think that what they landed on with the Frenzied and Ascendant is a better version of that. And I think that it was weird that it came down to damage types, and so then I think that giving the mobs where they're taking 30% or they're taking 20% increased damage, or you're giving the players haste, I think that is a way better way of incentivizing the Kiss Curse elements to this. I think that they really cooked with this one, and I'm super stoked to play with this. I'm interested to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'm probably going to be starting my stream soon for the day, so if you want to come talk about this, come tune in, and we will yap a bunch. Goodbye.